All right.
Production manager.
Sweetheart.
Come on over. Yes.
We're going to do the Ronnie Record Show.
We are, and we have our very own production manager
We
with
do,
us today,
we do.
Riker.
As usual.
As usual, I know, right? We love to have him make us look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, huh?
Well,
Okay.
thank you,
All right.
Riker. Now let's get started.
Okay.
We're talking about today a doo-wop singer and his group. He just passed away.
Yeah. Sad,
And-
but yeah.
And we're always sad when that happens. But I love doo-wop. I grew up
So do
on
I.
doo-wop.
So do I.
And this is Larry Chance and the Earls.
Right.
And they're an awesome group. And I think most of their hits were kind of after the first wave of doo-wop. This was in the early 60s.
And they actually went back to the 50s. Yeah, I've got it right here.
Well, you
Yeah.
tell us. I don't do research.
Oh, wait a minute. It's the distinctive sounds of the 50s
Right.
and 60s.
Right.
Remarkable music, yeah.
So there are a bunch of groups that were, I think, like in Brooklyn or the Bronx, and
Right.
they hung out on street corners. You had Dion on the Belmonts and
Right.
people like that were
Frankie Avalon?
No,
Yeah.
not Frankie. No, Frankie Avalon was never doo-wop.
No, but he was. You want me to read it to you?
Well,
Okay.
educated.
Larry
me there.
attended school with an icon. Oh, he attended school with Frankie Avalon. All right, I better reread my notes.
Right. Well, if he
Yeah.
attended school with Frankie Avalon, then he probably wasn't in New York. I was wrong about Brooklyn, Bronx, but I think Frankie
Bronx.
Avalon was in Philadelphia or something.
Right, and he was raised in Philadelphia.
Okay. So anyway, he comes with that second wave
Mhm.
of doo-wop. This is Never. Got that same old doo-wop song, bop cha bop cha bop, and a little bit of the falsetto, wow, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
this was one of their songs. The next one I like a little better, called Eyes. Just plain Eyes. So here is the group, the Earls, doing Eyes.
Right. Larry has been quoted saying, "So I told him whatever word my fingers," he's talking to his band, "lands on is going to be our name." And his finger landed on Earl.
Oh,
Right, a little bit of
like
tidbit.
the Duke of Earl.
Just
Yeah.
Earls. They did try to have it like ears, but they switched it back to Earls.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yes, yes.
All right. So, you know, this is reminiscent of the first wave. It's
Right.
got
And he's also known to have created between 100 and 150 songs over his lifetime.
wow.
Yes, that many. And some of them were awful, he said, and some of them were big hits. So,
Yeah. Well, this again is Eyes. I think it was a pretty good hit. And if you listen to it, it's the same thing. It's got that essence of doo-wop. When it first started, they didn't have instruments, so they would make up all these sounds to fill in for instruments.
right.
And I was a teenager at that time. I didn't know any of that. I just loved the sound. And the song came out by Barry Mann, a songwriter, big songwriter in the Brill Building, called "Who Put the Bop in the Bop Shabop." So
Right.
what he's talking about is all those doo-wop songs with that sound, bop bop shabop and wah wah
Right.
wah. So just this is updated. Doesn't have the same sound as the early groups, but very reminiscent.
Right, right. He did have a solo career that was mostly jazz and standards.
Oh,
Then doo-wop, even in the day and age, is huge in Europe and Japan. But after his short time of being a solo act, he did come back to the band.
oh,
Yes.
awesome.
Yep.
So here's the next song we have by the Earls. It's called "Looking for My Baby."
Okay.
Now listen.
Yeah.
See, a woo.
Right. Right.
It's
Yeah.
got a same old beat. This is, I think, very true to the original sound.
So there is a little bit of tidbit information. When he was in high school, there was a glee club, and he tried out 2 years in a row to get on the glee club, and the director said no both times. So, yes, he was turned down twice. In 1960, he released "Life Is But a Dream," which got him on American Bandstand with Dick Clark. afterwards, he went back to that school, back to that teacher,
Oh, back
and
Glee Club
handed
director.
her his 45 and turned around and walked out. So I'll show you. You don't let me play in the Glee Club? Here's my 45.
It's funny, I didn't have much of a voice when I was in the Glee Club. Unfortunately, I got kicked out, not because of voice, but because I was a little rowdy.
Hoodlum.
Poor Brother Castle, that broke
Hoodlum.
to school.
Yeah.
I was a hoodlum, as you like to
You were,
say.
yes.
So anyway, this is Looking for My Baby. We will play Life is But a Dream,
Right.
one of their bigger hits in a little bit.
Yeah.
So next one is Cry, Cry, Cry.
Okay. Just a little bit of more information about him. That he and his drummer have played 56 years together.
Oh,
I mean, what a relationship, right?
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, how cool.
And he still, before he passed away, loved going into the recording studio, and that was his happy place.
Oh, I imagine
Yeah,
for a lot of
right?
recording
Yeah.
artists, it probably was. He's mentioned in this beautiful book I have called Doo-Wop.
Oh my! What kind of car is that?
That it looks like a Cadillac with two bullets coming out, probably 59 Cadillac maybe,
I didn't know that.
with a wing. Well, somebody might out there might correct me, maybe it's
Huh.
not. But. So this is more of that doo-wop sound.
One, unfortunately, he did pass away.
Yes,
you know,
that's
not
why
too
we're
long
doing the
ago.
soda.
Right.
Honor Larry
Right.
Chance. Yeah.
When he was diagnosed with cancer, which I think was back in 2000, I think, I could be
Yeah.
wrong on that, but I think so, that he wrote the song Believe, which we're not playing today.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Right.
I missed it.
He wrote that
Yeah.
song during the time of him trying to
Oh, because he believed.
believe,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Another
Yes.
doo-wop song done by the Earls. It's You.
It's you.
Listen to that, again, that same beautiful sound that takes me right back to that time.
Yeah.
Dancing slow with your sweetheart.
Of course, of course.
You're looking for more tidbits.
I
Yeah.
am. What is It's You? I don't see anything about It's You, but he was very well respected in the field. I don't know how I did not know him, but I
Well,
didn't until
we're
I
still
did some
talking about early
research.
60s when you were young.
I was pretty young back then.
So
But, yeah,
the next
I
one
wasn't
is that
into-
song you mentioned where he sang it on American Bandstand.
Yes.
Life is but
But
a
a
dream.
dream.
Yep.
Did I play this for you?
Yeah.
5 minutes ago?
You did, Riker. You did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our producer is right on top of it. So Life is but a dream
Yep.
by the Earls.
Yep. And top 10, it made, this one made the top 10 charts. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to read that. Okay. I think it was
Good
the
idea.
top 5.
That's a good idea.
Obviously, I'm not the expert on chance. You are, but yeah.
Well, anyway, Life is but we're going to end with Remember These, which it's kind of when in the 60s, early 60s, we started calling this music oldies.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and by the
Yeah.
way, we in the 50s never called it doo-wop. That somebody coined that term later on.
Really?
When they said that brand of music sounds like doo-wop, the doo-wop, the matcha.
What did they call it?
We call it slow music, fast music. We didn't call it, we didn't have
I've
a
only
term.
known it for being doo-wop.
No, well, of course, because you're looking backwards through
Yeah.
that prism where
Yeah.
people called it doo-wop afterwards. We didn't call it doo-wop. We just knew it was music we liked. That's all. There was, so,
You remember dancing to this?
oh, absolutely. And the last song,
Okay.
anyway, my point was, Remember These is like in the 64, 65, this song coming up is like Caesar and the Romans did, those oldies but goodies remind me of you.
Yeah.
That's when they start singing about the old song.
Yeah.
And that's when you know they're oldies. And this is very much like, I think, those oldies but goodies. Yep.
Right.
Let's listen because he starts, I think he starts talking about old groups. Now, we're going to go to remind us of the song from before. talking about a Dion in the Belmont song. See?
Right. Okay.
So he said, remember then. I don't remember these, just remember then. So already in 1962, they're singing about oldies.
Oldies, right.
Like this is new times.
I like the Doo-Wop. I always have.
Yeah, it's got a great sound. It's upbeat. It's fun. So you know, that's just. This is really said about really an end of an era.
Yeah. And for something that played 50 years, at least 50, maybe
Yeah.
even 60 years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I always
Quite an
thought
accomplishment.
what they called Doo-Wop. I always thought it was done in the 50s, but again, groups like the Earls carried it into the early
They did.
60s.
They did. Yeah.
So already, and I think this is like 62, he's saying it's over. So remember when we were, which was just like a few months before.
Well, I knew it in the late 60s.
Yeah.
I remember listening to it. So.
Anyway, this is Larry Chance, who passed away recently.
Yeah.
Larry Chance and the Earls.
All right. Production manager.
Production
Come on
manager,
in and take a bow.
Let's wind it up.
Take a bow. You did good today.
Good,
Yes,
thank you
buddy.
for
Love you.
producing our show
Yes.
right there.
Playing on my phone in the
So
back.
Here we go.
All right.
Ending
Goodbye
the
and
Ronnie
see you
Ricketts
next time.
House at
See you
5.
next
See you
time.
next week.
Bye-bye.